Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. Do you like to see those around you and realise their potential? Welcome. I'm glad we're able to share this time together today. For well over 200 years, we at Wesley Mission have been caring for people living with addictions before we even knew the name. Of course, there are substance addictions where people have been around for a long time and we've known about alcohol and drugs. There are behaviour addictions such as gambling, gaming, internet, and the list goes on. Whatever the addiction, the ramifications are not treated, and if they're not treated and controlled, they have many negative side effects. Not only to the person dealing with the addiction impacted, but also family, friends and loved ones. Today we'll see Gary's story. We've been working with Gary through our gambling counselling work in recent times, and we'll see how his life has been turned around. I'll be speaking with Briony Scott in the studio. Briony is the principal of prestigious Wenona School in Sydney. She's a regular columnist in a local newspaper, writing about educational and parenting issues, and has a passion to see students and those that she's got responsibility for abound and reach their potential. I'm looking forward to speaking with Briony a little later on in the show. We'll be joined by Deb Ezzy-Walton, Craig Gower and the Wesley Impact Band to sing I Can Only Imagine. And I'll share some thoughts on John 17, where Jesus actually prays for us. But first, I mentioned that we work with Gary through our Wesley Gambling Counselling Services. And I'd like to take a moment to watch his story together. And when working with clients to seek to help them, we try to help the whole person, not just the issues immediately present in their lives. Let's take a look together.
Wesley Mission's Gambling Counselling Service meets a broad range of needs in a client. So whilst gambling has brought a client into our offices, we're dealing with a whole human being.
I walked into a pub one day and I found, how can I be social without being social? There was a back room with a draw card machine, but I got into it too much where it became every moment that I wasn't working, I was getting into the pub to play the machine. I started getting depressed. I started feeling mentally incapacitated.
When people come to see a counsellor at Wesley, they are in distress. Something has happened in their life that has brought them to recognise that they can't continue the way they have been going.
And I was working for an organisation in the city where I had 5 people under my control doing accounts work. I did the banking and I didn't put the cash in the bank. I kept it in my back pocket. I was just gambling and not living. I was going to every van there was to have a meal. I knew it was the biggest problem, but I didn't know how to find an answer to it.
Gambling is most often a symptomatic part of a bigger problem.
He wasn't just helping with the gambling. He was actually there because I needed housing and I was on the street. It wasn't just a gambling hat. You have to look at it in my mental health was number one, even before he looked at the gambling, even if it took longer to get rid of the gambling.
At the end of their journey with Wesley Mission, I simply want them to be empowered to take control of their lives. I want them to be able to make choice consciously and effectively.
I don't have a lot of anxiety anymore. I still have those situations where buses can really give me problems. Trains, when they're full, can really give me problems. But I'm living, and that's what it is, living a life that's fruitful.
What happens for me and what happens for any therapist working in this area is that there is joy to be had in seeing clients progress.
What I would say to someone with gambling is to seek out help when you're ready. You need to be fully committed to looking at all your issues, not just your gambling. So to look inside yourself, it's sometimes scary, but where's your life going to be otherwise?
If you would like to learn more about Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can find help in our community services, connect with our church and congregations, discover a volunteer role that suits you, stay up to date on the latest news and information, donate to support our work, and help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and subscribe to receive the latest news and information about Wesley Mission directly into your inbox. Visit wesleymission.org.au.
And don't hesitate to be in touch if you'd like to find out more about our work at Wesley Mission, or if we can be in some way a help to you. The contact details are on the screen now. I've been looking forward to speaking to my next guest for some time. Briony Scott is the principal of Wenona School in Sydney. She's been a self in her academic world, a master's and a doctorate in education from the University of Sydney. She's a committed Christian, and the list goes on. There are many things that make up Briony's life. It's lovely to welcome you to the show, Briony.
Thank you for having me.
You're currently the principal of Wenona School for girls in Sydney. Tell us a bit about what that means.
Well, actually, it's funny you should say that, because I had a Year 12 girl come up to me the other day and goes, "What is it that you actually do?" And I thought, it's not always immediately transparent, but it is a little like conducting a big orchestra. It's a big community. We have 1,100 girls and their families, extended families, and it's about how do you educate these young women, but within the sense of a community, so that they can understand their place in the world.
The very way you describe them as young women gives us an insight into the way you see those that are there. You don't talk about them as young girls that are in the making, but they're already women who are being made.
Yes, absolutely. So the idea about young people is that they grow up into, they want to please us, they want to be adults, they want to be independent, and so we want to treat them the way we would like them to be, we'd like to be treated, and we'd like them to grow up to become. So it's really important they're spoken to with respect, that you treat them as equals, because they are equals, understanding that they're young people, but we are there to show them what good relationships look like.
And also set expectations and
very clearly. So young people always, both boys and girls, young men and women, will look at adults for clues as to how to behave. So our expectations are by our actions and by our words.
So you've always wanted to be in education?
It didn't really dawn on me until I was at university. I didn't really know what I wanted to do until I got into a degree and realised I didn't want to do that one, and so kind
of moved over. What were you doing at first then?
I did agriculture, and I love agriculture, but I grew up on the water, so I knew nothing about it, and I reached third year and still didn't know what hay was, and I thought, this is really not boding well for a career path, and so I moved over into education and immediately loved it, just loved it.
You knew that at that moment, this is what I wanted to spend my life doing?
I don't know that it was a lightning bolt, but it was a growing confidence, because I didn't always get things right, and I had a lot to learn, but there was a growing confidence that I could contribute here.
So what about the people who've influenced you then in your path, your career?
Yeah, well, overwhelmingly it's my parents. So I have a mother and father who are just extraordinary in terms of them saying, you do whatever you want. They never put down expectations about where I should go or what I should do. And Dad was always a very strong, feminist. He was very much like, you go out, you do what you want to do, you don't let anyone stop you. And Mum, ironically, was the one who would be there going, okay, I'll babysit so you can finish your course. And, so there's like a practical element to it as well. But between them as a team, they were phenomenal.
And the Christian faith is important to you. How has that had any influence upon the way you've seen your role? My faith has, but also so has my faith community. I've been enormously privileged to have grown up, and particularly as a young adult, in communities that were very positive and very constructive, very supportive, and that has informed a lot of what I do and how I treat people. They're also very good at not allowing man to make the distinctions or the limitations. I mean, we all have pretty limited imaginations when it comes to what other people can do. And they were like, you do it. If that's what you need to do, you go and do it. What about some of the tough stuff, every role that we do in life? What would for you be some of the biggest challenges you've had?
All people. People don't go to church so much anymore. And so what we're finding is that schools are becoming the community hub for them. Now, in some respects, they always have been, but more than ever, this is their community. They don't necessarily have extended families, they travel from overseas, or whatever, but they're in a position where families are looking to the schools to provide everything. And so we do, because it's an extraordinary privilege to be in this role, but it means that when families are grieving, when things are going wrong, it's often the school, to where they turn. And that means that whenever anything goes wrong in life, as it inevitably does in a community that size,
As I
you're
draw to
there.
a close, what motivates you? Somebody says, tell me what motivates you.
In education, young people. I'm playing a long game. I love what I do. Every woman who comes across my path, I want them to grow up to know who they are, and I want them to be strong in themselves.
And you've got a strong family yourself, that's all
Absolutely,
important too.
absolutely.
That gives you strength to do what you do.
Strong and very close family.
And how do you fit it all in a busy life?
Imperfectly, like the rest of us. I hurdle the laundry pile and, do take away probably far too much. But I know what's important to me, and I know what comes first. And my family are the most important thing to me, or the relationships that I have with my family are most important. I'm extremely privileged to be in a community that is all about relationships. They matter to me enormously. So I want to know that the young people who are in my care are okay and that they're travelling well.
Briony, just hang on a bit, if you will, with me in the show, and we might come back to you a little later in the show. So thanks for joining us today and sharing your story. Please welcome now Deb Ezzy-Walton, Craig Gower are going to sing I Can Only Imagine.
What it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes, when I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Would I sing hallelujah? Would I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever worship you. Oh.
Over the years of Wesley Impact, Keith Garner has had hundreds of conversations sharing stories of hope, resilience, love and the Christian faith. Perspectives on Faith and Entertainment is a collection of inspiring and insightful conversations with people who are leaders in their field, including former Queen of Pop, Deborah Byrne, pioneer songwriter Jeff Bullock, children's and country music entertainer Colin Buchanan, Golden Guitar winning duo Carter and Carter, seasoned performer and music mentor Daniel Kay, and renowned worship leader Darlene Check. Each conversation shares a unique perspective on entertainment and collectively presents a broad cross-section of performers and how their faith impacts their lives and others. Perspectives on Faith and Entertainment is the third instalment of a 3-part series and is available now from Wesley Mission. To find out more, contact Wesley Mission on 02 9263 5555 or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. Caring for a child with disability is more than a full-time job. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop caring. Sadly, without a break, this constant strain will take its toll. Help us give carers a break before they break down. Donate to Wesley Mission Disability Services before it's too late.
I'm reading from John 17 in verses 20 to 26. My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you've sent me. I've given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. I in them and you in me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved them even as you've loved me. Father, I want those you've given me to be with me, where I am, and to see my glory, the glory you have given me because you loved me before the creation of the world. Righteous Father, though the world doesn't know you, I know you, and they know that you've sent me. Now I've made you known to them and will continue to make you known, in order that the love you have for me may be in them, and that I myself may be in them. Now, John 17 is one of the most fascinating chapters in the whole of John's Gospel. It's sometimes been referred to by people as the high priestly prayer of Jesus. We don't often get the insight of listening to Jesus pray, but we certainly get that insight when we turn to John 17. It affords us a picture of the intimacy of the relationship between Jesus Christ and God the Father. It reveals the deep concern that he had for his disciples. But you know, it goes so much further than that. It shows his concern not only for the disciples, but for all those that will follow after. And it includes, of course, ourselves. This is the last aspect that I want to draw your attention to as we start thinking about the season of Pentecost, the gift of God. Jesus is praying for all believers, all Christians, in every place, whatever language, whatever culture. He stretches the focus of his prayer. And it's so easy for modern Christians to only be concerned about their own circle of concern, to be only interested in themselves and those things that they're familiar with. But we're given a clear link here between ourselves and those who were the first disciples. And that link is through the message given to us all. Jesus Christ shares his glory and does not display anything of selfishness and protecting his relationship. He's given of himself so that we might be one, a complete sense of unity. And we read that when we open up these verses. I am in them and you are in me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Unity is a very powerful word. We know how important it is in the society and the world in which we live. We see so many broken aspects of it and how things fracture in our society. But he gave us a dream, a vision, to lift our eyes, our hearts to something better. He's given his gift to us that the world might know the purpose which truly is a purpose of God. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. The purpose of his love is that people might know that they count, that they're valued, that they're really part of something bigger than themselves. His selflessness, it flows from so much of his character and nature. And this is very religious, you know, his eternal love. But it's much more than just a religious statement. It's actually giving us a bigger picture, a bigger context in which to live our lives instead of the narrowness that so often fills the way we see things. Father, I want those you've given me to be with me, that where I am, and to see my glory, the glory you've given me because you loved me before the creation of the world. You know, some people read that as talking in terms of God fixing the whole world. I see it as a much more profound thought than that our lives, what we're about, is lived on a canvas that's far bigger than the narrowness of our vista, something bigger. It's a wonderful thought that God in Jesus Christ is concerned not only about the disciples, not only about the famous Christians, but about me and about you. And when I listen to him praying here, I'm grateful because as I begin to anticipate the gift of Pentecost, of the Holy Spirit given to the life of the Christian church, I'm just grateful that he was already talking about that as he gathered with the disciples. A group of disciples who knew what it was to follow him, who knew what it was to let him down, who knew what it was to get things all messed up, but finding that they were given purpose, a purpose that makes, that remakes, that reconstitutes life, that gives purpose and meaning and quality. As we listened earlier, talking about young people in a school context where they need to realise that they are already in the making. They're already people, human beings that God's potential can be released through. Knowing that wherever we find ourselves, we can look around and we can see how we can help to fulfil the prayer of Jesus by our actions, by our words, by the way in which we reach into people's lives. It's a marvellous picture in John's Gospel, and situated quite strategically before the Passion, before the journey that leads eventually to the cross. And of course, it's in the cross that we find our deepest and most profound sense of purpose and meaning.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A 5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send us an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on social media. You can also connect through Keith's blog and stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Wesley Mission, wesleymission.org.au.
My father had recently passed away. I turned to gambling to try and relieve that tension that I was feeling. The more money I earned, the more money I gambled. I really felt a need to change.
At the end of their journey with Wesley Mission, I simply want them to be empowered to take control of their lives. I want them to be able to make choice consciously.
My life since coming to Wesley Mission for counselling has improved out of sight.
Contact details are on the screen now if there's any way that we can help you. There's always something amazing happening in the life of Wesley Mission. Let's take a look together at something that's coming up.
Be part of our multicultural celebration dinner with the Wesley Mission family. Together we'll enjoy a delicious spread of foods and stunning performances with friends from all around the world. This very special event is being held on Friday the 21st of June at the Wesley Centre. Bookings are essential, so please visit our website for more information. Wesley Mission is holding a Wills Day on Friday the 7th of June in the Taree Town Centre, where you can have your will professionally prepared by an independent solicitor from as little as $60. Bookings are essential, so please visit wesleymission.org.au/wills to reserve your appointment. Wesley Mission's Chinese congregation is celebrating their 30th anniversary. Come and join the celebrations with this vibrant church community at the Lyceum in the Wesley Centre on Sunday the 16th of June at 10 a.m.
More information about these events and others that we've got planned for later in the year will be available online. Have a look at the details on the screen now. Thank you once again for being with us today. And my special guest, Briony Scott. Before we finish today, Briony, if someone was over-listening our conversation and they were thinking about going into education themselves, what would you say to encourage them?
I would encourage them, if they really love children and they love investing in the future, that education is the one place that you can actually make a difference in someone's life over a longer period of time. You form relationships with young people and actually foster and look after them and develop them as they grow. It's a magnificent profession.
And not expect everything just to happen immediately like that.
It's a long game. We're playing a long game here, and you may not hear about something for decades, about how words that you said affected someone 20, 30 years down the track. It can't be about you. It has to be about what you're doing and how you're helping that young person.
And I found that many people who are looking back on their lives can still remember the teacher that made the difference.
They can remember how a teacher made them feel. Even if they can't remember the words, that beautiful Maya Angelou quote, they absolutely can remember how someone made them feel.
I look forward to seeing you again next time on the show. God bless you and thank you for joining us.
Wesley Mission walks alongside people of all ages struggling with homelessness, addictions, mental health issues and financial stress. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.